Chinese electric vehicles, known for their affordability, are steadily making their way into the Korean market. Following buses and commercial vehicles, they are now expanding into the passenger car sector. Today, we will explore why Chinese EV makers are entering Korea and how much market presence they may establish. Joining us in the studio is Professor Yeong-Jae from the KDI School of Public Policy and Management, who specializes in EV adoption research. Welcome, Professor Kim.
Thank you. I'm Yeong-Jae Kim, an associate professor at KDI School, and also affiliated scientist at RFFCMCC and European Institute of Economics and the Environment in Italy, in Milan.
Sure.
Yeah. Recently, I've working on a couple of papers regarding with the EV adoption in South Korea with my brilliant RA, David Wu.
Yeah, that means to us that you're the perfect person that we should meet for this discussion,
Yes,
right?
obviously.
So BYD, Chinese largest EV maker, made a Korean debut last month with its compact SUV. So I'm just wondering how the local automakers and consumers are reacting to this.
First of all, people are quite interested in that, right? Because it's a very, very cheap and affordable car in the market. And normally EV markets are dominated by the Kia and Hyundai, automobile company in South Korea. Due to that, new introduction of the new car made by in China is quite shocking to a lot of consumers. But as far as the firm goes, I think they tend to behave as if they don't care about it, but they do care about it, definitely.
So with more Chinese EV brands entering into Korean market following BYD, so I'm wondering what kind of competitive advantage they can offer to Korean consumers compared to domestic brands.
Yeah, first of all, we need to think hard about what's the driving factors of the adoption of the EVs, right? First of all, the important factor is the cost, price of the EV. Second, the infrastructure, right? If there are no charging infra out there, no one's gonna buy it. And third, maybe there are a lot of attributes of the car, right? So brand image or color or interiors and et cetera, super important for the consumers. So with that in mind, right, the cost competitiveness is super important factor that the Chinese, the BYD have in South Korea.
You mentioned cost. Actually, despite the cost effectiveness, Chinese EVs may face domestic loyalties to the domestic brands here in South Korea, or there's some also lingering prejudice against the Chinese products, right?
Right.
So can those benefits that you just mentioned win over skeptical consumers in South Korea? To be honest with you, I don't know the answer yet. It's questionable mark because the safety issues and the durability of the batteries. They argue that their batteries are super, good enough to, long more than 10 or 20 years. But it's questionable, right? So we need to see whether it works in the long term. So in the short term, there is the dominant effect because of the cost, obviously. So let's talk about other cases worldwide. Perhaps the BYD and other Chinese brands may experience some challenges or struggles in overseas markets in the past. So what lessons can be learned from those cases?
The biggest market in the world is United States and Europe, right? Yes. So think about in the past experience of the earlier the cases of the Chinese firms who tried to penetrate in the U.S. market was not successful because of the following reasons. First, of the regulatory hurdles or safety issues, concerns, gonna be the primary worry and concern for U.S. citizens. And at the same time, in the case of the Europe, right? So there are dominant already players in Europe, the automakers. So because of that, it was not easy for them to increase the number of vehicles, the EV vehicles in Europe.
But despite all those
past experiences that they have in the past, well, they decided to enter South Korean market. So I'm wondering what kind of advantage that they see here in South Korea. Why South Korea is so appealing to them?
So that question is connected to the previous format question, right? So because due to their failure experience in Europe and the United States, force them to enter into different market. So different market, like in South Korea, perhaps they think they might consider a stepping stone and test bed for their introduction of their EV car would be successful or not. So I think they might think about want to increase their number of sales in rest of the Asian market. So.
Okay, then if, it's still a big if, but if BYD successfully establish itself here in South Korea, then what kind of ripple effects that we might see across the industry? For example, what kind of additional product segments?
Okay, this is the if question, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't like this question because it's not going to be easy for them to penetrate the entire market in South Korea because of the loyalty consumers in South Korea to the specific brand, right? But if they are successful in Korean markets, I think they might additionally introduce some of the AI related products autonomous vehicles or some of the consumer equipment more energy efficient ones would be the next potential product they might think hard about to introduce in Korean market.
So if, another if, Chinese companies are successful here in South Korea, then domestic companies should respond to defend their own positions here in this domestic market. So how should our companies respond and how they develop their own strategies?
Okay, so this is the interesting part, right? So yesterday I saw news about Hyundai and Kia EV. They put a discount on some of their products in response to this shock, right? So I think they might, as far as consumers, it's a good news because competition drive the lowering the price of the upfront cost of the EV, so which is good, right? But in the longer term, they might, automakers in Korea need to think hard about the capacity or the durability or longevity of the batteries and other attribute of the cars make more fancier than the Chinese cars.
It's known to many people that the Chinese government is behind this whole successful story, right? They are backing the Chinese EV companies for it. Indeed. In light of the challenges that the automakers may see here in South Korea to develop their own capability independently, so what should be the role of the government, South Korean government?
So I don't think it's a good idea to a government support a specific company per se in South Korea because it's unfair game as well. But I do agree with that. That's globally it's unfair game because the Chinese firms are always 100% supported by the Chinese government, which is unfair. So a lot of rest of the countries like United States and European countries, EU particularly, want to put a tariff, right? So with this, having said this, I think as far as Korean government, it would be think more holistically about the penetration of the more environmentally friendly cars, including rest of the car fleet, right? So first of all, I think the driving. Recall what I said earlier about the second driving factors of the EV adoption, the infrastructure, right? So I do think a government support putting more a number of the fast chargers in proper manner, and at the same time, the slow chargers in home would be I think good for the rest of the car makers in Korea. So I think it's good to support directly to the specific company in Korea, but like indirectly like increase the more a friendly environment for the drivers out there in EV drivers would be the another way to support this ecosystem, EV ecosystem in Korea.
Yes, of course. Since the automotive industry is South Korea's key industry now, so it seems that the government and the company should work together to develop some, the coordinated approach
Yes.
to get through these challenges.
Yes, right. That's I couldn't agree more about that.
All right. Thank you for your time and your expertise. I think that's all we have prepared for this program. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.